Hello, this is Martheya. Welcome to Meet the Makers, our series where we go behind the screen of the official selection films of the No Box Dance Film Festival. On today's episode of Meet the Makers, we're joined by Giorgia, one of the makers of A Certain Number of Times, a No Box Dance Film Festival official selection. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me in my film.
We're so excited. And to start us off, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about your film?
I'm Giorgia Ponticello, and I'm a dancer and director. I'm studying film and media at the University of Turin with a focus on screen dance and digital media for live performance. I have a background in dance, but also in communication. So I'm interested on merging these two types of expression to one that is the film language with camera movement and also body movement. And my film is A Certain Number of Times, and it's a delicate film about my grandmother and her body and our relationship. It was really cathartic to edit this film because I felt the urgency to capture her body because it's always changing. Also, she is losing her memories, so it was like an opportunity to spend time together and do something to add other memories to our story together.
I'm so lucky. I feel that I got the chance to watch your film a certain number of times. It's such a touching film, and it made me reflect on my own relationship with my grandma, my yaya. And she's since passed, but it felt like what you were doing is kind of creating this memory time capsule of your special bond and your relationship. And I think that resonated with me, and I think that's going to resonate with so many people.
I hope.
I'd love to hear more about your process in creating this film, because you did include different footage, like old footage and things like that. So could you talk to us more about that process?
Yes, it started like 1 year before, and it was like when I had the chance to spend time with my mother. I was collecting all the things around her house that tell me about her personality or her story. And then I wanted to capture her forever as that afternoon that we spent together, to remember us like that. And such as, just like the text she reads says, a certain afternoon of your childhood. So then I was interested in spend an afternoon with her and with a sensible team that can capture us. And it was so difficult to be there in the moment with her and to direct the scenes because I was emotionally inside. And then it was funny because we filmed some scenes at her house, and I wanted to tell her story, so I used her as a body, has a story, has her voice, her clothes, all authentic stuff that can speak about her. But it was a little improvised filming. And then in the editing process, it was like there were a thread in how we filmed together the scenes with her and the old footage that I found. And it was funny because I was watching the footage after filming and after editing the first part with air. And then it was finding the same path, the same choreography, such as we were doing it unconsciously. And so it was crazy. I was so much emotionally. And yeah.
That's really beautiful and cool how you have found this like element of surprise when looking at the past and the present as you were kind of interweaving the two. Do you have advice for makers who are wanting to create work that is emotional, or perhaps they're working with loved ones?
My advice is to follow the intentions that you have inside and not follow the rules as a scheme, but to follow the flow and to work with people that support you and that you trust. It's really important, I think. And I think that it's difficult to be inside and remain in reality world. But I think this emotional part, it's important for the audience and to feel, to really feel and be moved by this feeling.
Thank you. Can you talk about a pivotal scene in your film that you think maybe really demonstrates that emotional pull that you want the audience to experience?
Yeah, I think that is the part when I hug myself when I was a kid. The next one when I do the hands like Titanic time with my grandmother, because it was the part that made me cry a lot, because it felt like I was hug my little kids inside and to remember me the importance of my roots, of who I am and who I was, and this heritage about the body of my grandmother, that it's like passing me all her gestures or all her story. Yes, I think it's this part.
Yeah, I definitely felt that's part too. Thank you for sharing your extremely meaningful and beautiful relationship with your grandmother and creating this wonderful film for all of us to kind of reflect on. Maybe it's not our grandmother, but another person maybe in our life that has also kind of shaped us. So those of you who are listening and watching, make sure you see Giorgia's film at the No Box Dance Film Festival. And before we close, we have a tagline here at No Box Dance. We say no to the box and yes to the future of dance. Giorgia, how do you say no to the box and yes to the future of dance?
No to the virtuosity and egocentric, and yes to dance as a bridge between humans and our the connection to ourselves.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come behind the screen of your film It's such an honor and a privilege that we get to share your work with our audiences around the world. How can our audiences stay connected with you and the work that you're doing?
Contacts.
Yeah.
On Instagram, Little Bridge, and Giorgia Ponticello, wherever you search on the internet.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you making the time to also be interviewed with us.
Thank you for your time.